Who's ready for some boom, baby, boom? Rise and shine. Your boy Marky Santa is already at work this morning. Marijuana motivation time. That's right. I sleep at the print shop down here at the print shop, and I'm waking and instead of baking, I'm working. My friend said, "Wake and bake." I said, "I just waked." And it's like, and I'm already at work. So this is what it was. This is what it's like for the late night, early mornings when you literally been doing this since 2 a.m. I'm literally programmed out video in a sec all the way out to October 9th with these crazy videos I be doing, these genius videos, I should say. I'm programming them in as we speak. But it's a dedication, right? They call it hard work dedication, not for nothing, but for something. It's something that's going to have to reach inside you, and you're going to say, I want it bad enough that I'm willing to wake up to it. I'm willing to change my habits for it, and I'm willing to get a little bit uncomfortable, like, waking up, suddenly because I got to open up the shop because the customers are already wanting their product. And that's what LVOG, Las Vegas Original, we're all about here. I'm here in Finland at the print shop, helping build the print shop overseas. My friend hit me up this morning. He said, "Man, I'm just marveling at your network worldwide." And I said, "Man, it's been 15 years of traveling. I was networking way before this, but the whole process has been slowly but surely happening. And it's one of those things that it doesn't just fall to the top of the hill like we were at the top of the hill working out yesterday. You got to climb to this hill, and that slow steady climb turns into a big drip, a big drip to rapids, like that fast. And I don't think most people get to see themselves on the other side of hard work and dedication and all the stuff your boy uh, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Would say when he was at the gym. But people want to count the cash. They want to see the end results of something, and they don't want to see the building blocks. They don't want to be a part of the building. They want to be a part of the aftermath. And this is where it really lasts. This is where it really happens. It's in the early mornings, late nights, early mornings. It's in the consistency and dedication. It's in the bricklaying, and most people, they just want the end result. They're like, is it done yet? Are we there yet? And it's like, I don't think I'll ever be there yet because I'm still evolving me. And that's something that I realistically do. And I'm going to show you. Let me see if we can edit this thing. This is me watching me do the designs and everything. I thought this thing was finished, but last night I was trying hard to find a section in the video in a sec over here, and it didn't want to transpire to me. And I was like, where's this fucking section of this video? It turns out it's not right there where I thought it would be. But isn't that what life's like? Life is a lot like, especially if you're manic depressive or really hard on yourself, you'll be like, that's not what I wanted life to be like. And the truth is I just wanted to have some peace and prosperity at the same time. I thought and still believe that my business is that, that I can transform my mind and my life the way that I described to myself. It was a visualization and an actualization in the same breath. And most of us, we're sitting there just going like, I just want it to happen. And then I'm like, well, we'll miss the whole process of life where it's developing, right? Like the actual development of yourself, the maturation of your life, and watching it go from trouble and strife to hopefully a wife and happiness. That's growth. That's incremental growth. And the word incremental makes it just even more step by step, brick by brick kind of feeling. But yeah, I mean, I just woke up about like an hour ago. We're supposed to be open at 8. Was here at 9, and it was just like, boom, I'm already opening the door. Boom, packages are already going out the back, and boom, the dream becomes more of a reality the more that you see yourself showing up in a light that you didn't think was possible. I mean, my buddy's talking about world travel, but I had no idea. had no idea it would be like this. I had no idea that someone would marvel at my network. I barely rest on my own laurels and just go how much hard work I've done, or the things that I've done in my life. I do all of it, trouble and strife. Let me kiss the island. It was underneath my shirt. And just say I'm grateful to have arrived in this life. To even if it's sleeping on a couch, I still get to visualize the reality of my life. And oh, there it is. Somebody's already calling. Someone's already ringing the doorbell. See, I told you it was waking work. Yep, yep. See, already on the case. You came back fast. I'm on the morning motivation. Yep. And that's what it's like, ups and downs. If you were trying to smile and frowns, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be the type of person that can move your soul. First, you got to move your mind. It's such a powerful tool to be able to say, I'm going to do this and not get distracted or run towards an addiction or something else that'll circumvent what you had previously planned. I think that's the toughest part for most people is they set out to do something and then there's so much distraction, there's so much other needs, we're so needy for other things that we forget to do the things that we really need. We go to our wants real quickly and then we're surprised by the defeat, and it's just like, it's usually us letting ourselves down. I hate, to remind motherfuckers, but it's usually us going like, oh yeah, I said I would, but then I didn't. And that's I think that's the worst thing. Oh shit, it is working. Okay, cool. That's the worst thing, is to let yourself down and not be able to see the reality of your dreams or to see the accomplishments come through. The best feeling is not that it happened, it's just that you made it happen. You said you would, and inside yourself there was a war. I talk about this war all the time, this war inside of ourselves where we don't know who's going to win. And that's kind of the worst war zone, is being in your own head and not knowing. You're like, you should know, about all these things, and do them when you can, because otherwise we're just going to be dead. Like there's no time for it anymore. Once you're out of time, you don't get to develop anything anymore. It's just all about being there and being present and saying, hey man, I showed up for myself. I rose to the occasion. They always say that. I want to rise to the occasion. I don't want to be deflated. I don't want things to distract me. I want to see these things come through, and it's worth it. So I've become almost like a machine at this point, where I would think that, I would have been tired, or it would have stopped me. If it's a dream, it's a fuel that'll keep you awake. It won't keep you down. It'll say, hey, we in this bitch. And regardless, I asked for it. When we were kids, they say, you asked for it, and you probably get slugged in the arm. You asked for it, right? Most of us aren't asking to be punched in the arm, obviously, but we are asking for something and reaching and trying to grab onto things as much as we can, of things that we think it's what we want instead of what we need. And we probably don't grab that rope because it needs a lot of work. It requires a lot from us. And then we just go back off of it and we're like, you know what? That looks like too much. Let me go back to my cycle. This is why we don't get to lose the cycle. This is why it still repeats itself. And this is why I'm trying to teach people how to escape it. Since it's a prison we created ourselves, why can't we escape it? There's got to be a break free point where you just said, I don't want to do that no more. I want to be mentally free. I want to be able to see myself on the other side accomplishing my dreams. And this is the thing of it. It's not a soliloquy. It's not poetry. It's poignancy. It's saying like, I point in this direction. I point my soul in this direction. I point my energy in this direction. Therefore, I will go in this direction. And there's always two paths. Robert Frost, that I choose the path less traveled by. And that's made all the difference. And it has, to be able to have friends in Germany say, yeah, man, you got a couch to crash on. I'm like, bet. And the crash on the couch here at the print shop is, even that is a blessing. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things where I didn't think the dream would go further without me. And sure as shit, it just kept showing up, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that I can keep showing up for myself, and proving to myself that things that I see can be a possibility. And that's what confidence is, being able to grow it from internally and see it come outwardly. And then that these things are my powers, my light, my energy, instead of something outside of me where it's like winning the lottery, or it was by chance, or by happenstance. No, I dictated this. I planned it. I said, hey, I want it to be just like this. And it is. So, I mean, is it picture perfect? Nothing ever is, right? That's not how those things work. Here, I need to get on this part of the video here. But that's where we're gonna have to be sometimes. We're gonna have to be in our own mentality and say to ourselves, hey, let's make this dream more of a reality. Let's stop creating this, I guess, demon zone in our heads of everything. Things aren't exactly the way that I want them to be. And it's like, no shit, Sherlock. What have you done to change it? Have you gotten up early? My friend told me, I don't know any millionaires that are sleeping in. I said, okay, bet. I believe that. And it's one of those, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it, mate? Isn't it? And one of those, isn't it? Where you need to see yourself through all the lights, the prism, the spectrum, and go, okay, is my word, my bond, is it adding up to what I think it should be, or what I hope it to be, what I've been visualizing? And that's the big question of our lives, right? To see our visions leave our skull, leave our eyes, leave our soul, and see it in real form. I think that's the biggest dream and accomplishment of anyone's life, is to say, okay, I have intentions, I have motivations, I have situations that I want to see be different than the way that they are. And become an interpreter for those things. Be the type of person to say, okay, I'm gonna lead this into this direction. I'm gonna be the master and commander of my ships, and this is where we're going to sail. And I think a lot of people are afraid to sail. They're like, oh man, if I lift off, where will my safe harbors be? You start questioning, and that's delaying. I know a lot of people that it's almost like saying, I used to have my friend, he's not still my friend Dion, but Dion would always say, and I was like, don't be trying to come up with the next thing you're gonna say. I need you to be sharp witted. It's like a mama joke. I don't need you to be, let me think, I know your mama's so fat that her fucking belt size is equator. You know what I mean? You need to be like ready with the mama jokes. You can't be just like, hold on, wait here for while I think of something that'll be really good to clap back with. And people aren't going to be like that. You need to be clapping back before they even have something else to say. It's a full practice every day to say, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, I'm going to mean what I say, and I'm not going to say it mean. It used to be something that I would say to people. I would say, I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. You better hope I don't say it mean. Now I have to have more self-control over what I say, and still do what I mean, and do what I say I'm going to do. That's being impeccable with your word. But it's also a development thing where I said, I'm not just loosey goosey with my words. I'm pinpoint accurate with my actions, and it's just like that. Rise and shine, wake and work, get after it. I said I wanted it, so it's here. And then it's just like a lot of people there. I get it, because it would look like a lot of hard work just got dropped off. Hey, they just picked up the flyers. Here's a whole pallet of shit. It's like, but that's the pallet I asked for. This is the path that I asked for. It's not up to somebody else to live my path for me. It's what I developed and described, and said this would be the biggest dream, just to land into the city wearing my own clothes, land the deal, close the deal, and then that's the deal. Just go get a meal. And that was the plan. And then go see a museum, and grow myself culturally and worldly. And those are the things that I wanted. I said there's going to be some work in it. There's going to be some late nights, early mornings. There's going to be days where I just don't feel like doing it. Those things I'm expecting. And sometimes I do need my rest. That's fair. When you're climbing such a huge hill, you're going to need some rest, and you're going to need some calories and outlets and all sorts of things. And this is what I keep doing. I keep working till I find my outlets. I want to leave Plato's cave. I don't want to just see the perception that I believe. I had to leave the cave and actually see with my own eyes what would happen if I actualized. If I actually did the work, if I actually went to the place and I actually grabbed my balls and I moved forward instead of just sitting there talking about it. I became about it. I started to climb out of it. And that's my depression antidote, right? Like this is my the the anti-poison, the anti-depression, the anti-excuse that would normally keep yourself inside and say, "Oh yeah, I thought I would, but then I changed my mind." And it was just like, can you make up your mind? Can you make your mind do something that you said you would do? I mean, a lot of this stuff comes out of us just like that. I remember what's the one girl said it. She said it best, but she's on the couch with the gentleman and she's like watching TV and she's watching all these people dance on it's not American Bandstand, Soul Train. And Soul Train, she said, I wish I was a Soul Train dancer. And the guy's on the phone, when the phone used to be curly and tied up, he said, "What'd you say?" He said, "I wish I was a Soul Train dancer." He's like, "I'm on the phone with somebody right now. They go on a Soul Train tomorrow. You want to go?" And she was just like, that was the choice of her life. She didn't believe that it would happen. This chick, little Chinese chick, ended up being one of the Soul Train dancers for almost, I don't even know how long, but for a long time, like notably, all because of a dream, all because the words left her mouth and became an actualization. Like you can say what you want to say every day, but to actually put energy behind the words and actually move forward with it, that's the dream. So you can keep moving your mouth, but moving your feet after. That's where the magic is. The magic is, wow, now my body's in motion. Holy shit, I'm in a different city and I'm headed to this thing that I just was just on a couch a second ago talking about, and now it's a full on thing. And it's like, I wanted to travel the world, but now I can say I have a worldwide network. At the first time, I was just networking in Nevada. I was just like, hey, let me just go from place to place and dream to dream and try to make these things, and now it becomes a real reality. And that's the difference. Is I don't I think there's a lot of dreamers, but I want you to daydream. I want to bring your dream into the day and watch it happen. I'm sure there's something that you want. I'm sure you'd be like, man, my wants were pretty simple. Like I wanted a long lunch when I was working for someone else's dream before. I'd be like men's warehouse selling suits and shit. And I remember only having a half hour for lunch, and I was like, I'm not done with my yogurt yet. Who are these people that can come and order whatever they want, be able to afford it, or seeming to be able to afford it, and I'm over here digging holes in my own canoe, working at a spot right next door, and they only gave me a half hour. Like they would come over to the place and go, "Hey, your lunch hour's up." Like, can you imagine not being your own man to take a piss when you want to, Shawshank Redemption, or have a long lunch because you're the owner instead of an employee, and having someone else tell you how long you can eat? Like, this is these things that I see, and I was just like, I'm not gonna get angry. I'm gonna come up with a plan. Let's plan it. If I can watch all these bums fucking breaking and entering. I was watching the Lufthansa hikes. The mobsters are doing better than us. Well, not really, because they murder each other. But the point is like, you have a vision. It's going to be hard to take the vision and make it a reality. That's what Saints Addiction's all about. I was going to take my addictions, and that's why I said be addicted to bettering yourself, and say, okay, if I'm going to put this much energy into devastating me or going after things that I really don't need, you know, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., coke binges, girls on the third story, third floor, I got to get over there, fast food, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then throwing it all up in the next morning, you know, that's what it is. As soon as I woke up, I was binging and purging. I was trying, hey, I had a meal but I wasn't eating food that I enjoyed. I just saw my buddy send me a photo from blah blah blah, and the girl recognized me and remembered me and spoke English, but she's kicking ass and taking names. And I was like, this is such a trip to sit here and have vegetarian meals with my friend, and they're pretty tasty. They have some meats and stuff, but like for sure, balsamic vinaigrette and fresh salads and what's it called? Not root beer. It's beetroot, the red stuff. I eat a lot more beetroot than I ever did before in my life, and it's there. It's like, okay, they are eating healthier in Europe. They're not swallowing number four, color number four, red dye number six, or whatever the fuck those names are. They're not swallowing tricks or for kids. The trick is on us trying to put sugar in our system and expecting us to be healthy. It's like the killer of our ulcer or of our systems, and yet there we are. We keep like digging that hole, and we like, of course it's covered with something sexy. It's like, oh shit, it's a bunch of sugar, and sugar registers in our brain as fun, as carbs, and it's not real carbs like a pesto and a pasta, or not balsamic rice. What is it? What's the white rice called? What's the fat rice called? Balsamic? No, I don't remember. That's a B word for the rice, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And as I'm swallowing all this healthy food, me and my friend were talking about it. You can feel it go through you. It's one of my favorite feelings on the world, but like a fresh coconut in Brazil, just feeling it go through my lungs, down into my veins, and just absorbing all the nutrients through every part of my cell. That's what I'm talking about, baby. It's not an empty meal where I was just like, oh shit, nothing feels good anymore, or I want to feel the nutrients that I'm eating in my meal, not just fill my stomach. And then this is like your base level feelings where you're just like, oh, I just need just to feel a little bit, and it's just like, I want to feel a lot. And if that means being uncomfortable, then that's where my dreams are to grow. Then that's where I'm going to plant them. A lot of us are just trying to grow our dreams just in our head, and we're afraid to get our hands dirty and uncover what we really want. Speaking it into existence, putting some work behind it, waking work, making it happen, Captain. No, that's not what I'm going to do. We're just going to keep telling all our friends that will listen, and do the lip service, and just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that one day. One day comes and it's never done. And then you got to only look yourself in the eye and go, why have I not accomplished what I wanted to do? What did I do with the time, really? And it's odds are you did it what you wanted to, right? And you still get what you really, really want. Like my spiritual mentor Terry Prince will tell you. We all get what we really, really want inside. We might just not express it as eloquently as a morning motivation, or have it written down like a, what's the word I want to use? Like what do we call a lesson plan? Life needs a lesson plan. When you wake up in the morning as a teacher, when you're in the class, it's like, what are we gonna do today? And that's the question of our lives. Like, what are you gonna do today? And most people are like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the park, I'm gonna go to the library, I'm gonna do these fun things. But it's like, no, seriously, what can you bring out of yourself and get done today? That's the biggest task. And there should be three things. There should be a hat trick, and you should be able to hat trick yourself into completing three big tasks every day and go, I set out to say it. It needs to get done. The dishes, the vacuuming, the cleaning, whatever. It's not fun. You know what I mean? And that's what ends up happening. Like, all my fun stuff got done, and the things that needed to take place never came and got accomplished. And I had to call myself out on this. I had to be like, yo, bro, you said you would. Now go and do. And it's that simple. Put the fear to rest.